Could one of the most dominant defensive forces in the entire NFL secretly be on his way to Chicago? Imagine the absolute chaos of pairing an elite sack master with a defense that is already on the verge of taking over the league. We are breaking down the massive trade rumors, explosive rookie predictions, and roster shakeups that could completely change everything this season. If you are completely locked in and ready for a championship run, hit that like button, share this video with every fan you know, and subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss a single update. With the return of football finally looming over the horizon, the absolute desperation for the season to kick off is hitting an all-time high. Everyone is staring at the calendar, just waiting for the real action to begin, and honestly, it cannot get here fast enough. But while we wait for the players to hit the grass, the rumor mill is spinning completely out of control, throwing out some ideas that will make your jaw drop. Think about it for a second. What if a superstar defensive disruptor like TJ Watt suddenly became a shock trade target for this front office? When you first hear a name like that thrown out into the universe, your mind immediately starts racing with the possibilities of what that kind of production could do to opposing quarterbacks. It sounds like an absolute dream scenario on paper, but when you look past the initial shock value and dive into the actual reality of the situation, does a blockbuster move like that even make sense for where this franchise is heading? When you break down the physical profile and the financial reality of a player like TJ Watt, the fantasy starts to unravel a bit. We are talking about an edge rusher who plays a bit smaller, hovering around that 240 to 245 pound range. On top of that, he is 32 years old, and the price tag attached to his name is nothing short of astronomical, sitting at a massive $41 million per year. Now, we all know how the salary cap can be manipulated. Sometimes when a massive contract is traded, the structuring allows the acquiring team to take a significantly lighter hit than the organization that is actually trading him away. But even in the absolute best-case scenario, you are still looking at a cap hit of roughly $32 million hitting the books for this single season. Would you really want to tie up that much flexibility in a veteran player past his absolute physical prime? The front office has spent the entire offseason building up a foundation where they absolutely could make a splash if they truly wanted to. They have plenty of contracts they can easily manipulate, shift things around, and push money down the road to absorb a superstar salary. The capability is 100% there. But is an aging veteran the correct answer for this specific defensive puzzle? Even though he is still exceptionally gifted and capable of completely wrecking a football game on any given Sunday, there is an argument to be made that his overall trajectory is slightly declining compared to his peak years. He just does not fit the timeline or the identity of what this roster is trying to establish for the long-term future. At this exact stage of his career, it feels like an easy pass. But it makes you wonder what else is brewing out there. That brings us directly to our question of the day, and I want everyone to drop their thoughts in the comments section right below. If this team is going to pull off a massive blockbuster trade before the regular season kicks off, which specific players should they be targeting to put this roster over the top? Go ahead, sound off below with your dream targets, and let me know if you would actually risk it all for a veteran superstar or if you prefer a completely different name to upgrade this lineup. Speaking of bold moves and massive expectations, the conversation around our new franchise quarterback is reaching a literal fever pitch. People are looking for the boldest, most audacious predictions for what this rookie season could look like, and there is one specific milestone that feels incredibly daring but completely within the realm of possibility. What if Caleb Williams throws for a staggering 4,500 passing yards in year one? To put that into perspective, this franchise has literally never had a 4,000-yard passer in its entire historic existence. Think about how wild that is. So predicting 4,500 yards for a true rookie is undeniably bold, but the path to getting there is not as crazy as it sounds. If you look at the underlying metrics from last year, the pass catchers had one of the absolute worst drop rates in the entire league, ranking right near the bottom. If that group can simply execute at an average level and look respectable, that change alone is going to salvage hundreds of hidden yards that were left on the table. Combine that with a natural progression from Caleb Williams, where he pushes his completion percentage from a college average up into that 62 or 63% range, and suddenly 4,500 yards is completely on the table. If a few bounces go our way, he could genuinely finish right near the absolute top of the league in total passing production. But to secure that kind of elite offensive output, the defense is going to have to do its part, Which brings us right back to the trenches. Are we going to see another signing on the edge before the team reports for duty? There is a highly realistic chance that the front office enters training camp with the explicit goal of evaluating exactly what they currently have on the roster. They will likely push through the first few weeks, gauge the natural attrition that happens when pads come on, monitor the inevitable bumps and bruises, and see how the young guys look during joint practices and preseason games before making a final assessment. Right now, you have Montez Sweat leading the charge, alongside a young option like Austin Booker, while Deo Odeyingbo has fought his way back to full health. The true wild card is Shamar Turner. We still do not know if or when he will be completely cleared and ready to rock for the start of camp. And even if he is ready, both Turner and Odeyingbo are traditional tweener prospects who have the unique versatility to kick inside on specific packages. Because of that lack of traditional depth, adding one more proven edge rusher feels like an absolute necessity. It really feels like a total coin flip right now, completely dependent on how the staff views the progress of these young players over the next few weeks. The future financial structure of this offense is also going to get incredibly fascinating, especially when you look at the wide receiver room and think about what it will cost to retain a young star like Rome Odunze if he goes out and completely explodes in his first year. Imagine a scenario where he clearly establishes himself as the dominant number one target, racking up something like 85 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. While those might not be historic Jamar Chase numbers, it instantly cements him as a top 15 receiver in the entire NFL. If that happens, the front office will immediately have to start exploring what an extension looks like, even with the safety net of a fifth-year option still in play. You would likely have to look at a deal starting around the $30 million per year threshold. While that number sounds completely terrifying on the surface, it is actually the baseline rate for an elite Tier 1 pass catcher in today's escalating market. But it forces you to look at roster construction through a completely different lens. Do you genuinely want to tie up an astronomical percentage of your salary cap into 2 separate wide receivers making top-tier money? When your base offense is transitioning into heavy sets utilizing multiple tight ends, overpaying for 2 receivers might not be the smartest way to build a sustainable contender. He has to completely earn that kind of leverage first, so we will just have to watch how the health and production manifest on the field. Shifting over to the secondary, there is an under-the-radar battle brewing at the second cornerback position that has a lot of people talking. What are the realistic odds that a rookie like Malik Muhammad steps up and straight-up steals the starting boundary job away from the veterans? Right now, it feels like a 30% chance, which is definitely not impossible. He did miss some crucial time during minicamp because he was banged up, so step number 1 is showing up to training camp completely healthy and ready to compete. But the opportunity is going to be sitting right there for him. It is not like Tyreek Stevenson has completely locked down the unyielding, unquestioned trust of this entire coaching staff. Down the stretch last year, the staff was pulling him in favor of other options when opponents started to figure out his tendencies. If Malik Muhammad shows flashes of brilliance, he can absolutely force his way into the rotation. Even if he starts the year as the 4th corner, he provides elite insurance to step into the nickel spot if Kyler Gordon goes down, or fill in on the outside if Stevenson or Jalen Johnson miss any time. Looking at the schedule, the sheer excitement of these upcoming matchups is enough to make any fan lose their mind. If you could pick any game on the entire calendar to attend in person, how could you not choose the Christmas Day showdown against Green Bay? With the historic rivalry completely renewed and both teams fighting for supremacy, that environment is going to be absolutely legendary. Beyond that, a primetime Monday night clash in Seattle offers an incredible road atmosphere, and watching Caleb Williams go toe-to-toe against Drake May and the Patriots on a Thursday night is pure football bliss. Even the tight end room is loaded with top-tier talent that changes how this offense matches up against opposing defenses. Colston Loveland is arguably already a top 10 tight end in the league based on his elite production over the final stretch of last season, while Cole Kmet remains a rock-solid, top 20 asset who brings elite blocking and proven consistency. Having both of these guys on the field at the same time gives this offense an unbelievable advantage. As we inch closer to roster cutdowns, keep an eye on the minor trades and draft pick swaps that always happen right before Week 1. The coaching staff will be watching the preseason incredibly closely, focusing heavily on the left tackle battle and tracking the development of explosive young defensive pieces like Dylan Thiemann and Zavon Thomas. This team is finally transitioning into a legitimate contender, and the days of overreacting to every single quarterback snap are behind us. The foundation is set, the talent is undeniable, and the journey is just beginning. Let me know your predictions in the comments, and get ready for an unbelievable year of football.